Welcome back to the Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Bill Moore. Thanks for joining us for episode 3 from blog post to podcast in 10 minutes.
Before we dive in, do us a quick favor.
Yeah?
Hit that follow button so you never miss new episodes. It helps us share these ideas with more listeners who are curious about podcasting.
Absolutely. Today's topic is one I'm really excited about, turning a blog post into a podcast in just 10 minutes.
That sounds ambitious. Most people think of a blog and a podcast as totally separate beasts.
They do. But here's the truth. Every blog post you've ever written is already a podcast episode just waiting to be unlocked. The challenge is, reading a blog out loud doesn't work. What you need is a way to reshape the content into spoken conversation. That's where our blog to podcast mode comes in.
So this is an actual feature. Walk me through it.
Sure. Step 1, you take your blog post or even a YouTube video transcript. Step 2, VoxCrea reads the content and uses AI to build a natural, engaging podcast script. It's not just a narration, it reworks the material into conversational flow. Step 3, you hit generate, and suddenly you've got a polished podcast episode. Total time? Under 10 minutes.
So you're saying a blog isn't just words on a page. It's potential audio content that a whole new audience can access.
Exactly. Think about all the people who never read long-form content. They're too busy, they multitask, they prefer listening. With a podcast version, you meet them where they are, on a walk, in the car, at the gym.
Give me an example. Let's say I run a small marketing agency.
Perfect. Let's say you've written a blog post, 5 ways to save time in sales. Normally, maybe a few clients skim it, but with blog to podcast mode, you reframe it as a 10-minute podcast. Suddenly, your sales team, your clients, and even prospects are hearing your voice explain those tips while they're on the go. Same content, totally different impact.
That's smart, and it doesn't require writing something brand new.
Exactly. Repurposing is the name of the game. Most businesses already have blogs, newsletters, or even LinkedIn articles just sitting there. Why let them collect dust when they can fuel a podcast library?
So in a way, you're doubling the lifespan of your content. Blog for SEO, podcast for reach.
Right. Google rewards the blog, Spotify and Apple Podcasts bring in the listeners. You get the best of both worlds.
What about coaches or consultants? Do they get value here?
Huge value. Imagine a coach who's written 50 blog posts over the years. With VoxCrea, those posts can become a 50-episode podcast series almost overnight. Each episode introduces new people to their ideas without requiring them to sit down and write fresh material.
That's practically a content goldmine. But let me play devil's advocate. Won't people just stop reading the blog if the podcast version exists?
Great question. The answer is no, because people consume content differently. Some will always prefer reading, others only listen. And a lot of people do both. Listen first, then click through for details. The formats reinforce each other instead of competing.
Okay, but what about outdated blogs? Stuff that doesn't reflect my current thinking.
That's actually an opportunity. Updating an old blog is faster than writing a new one, and turning it into audio breathes new life into it. You might even add context, like, this was my view 2 years ago. Here's what I think now. That's powerful content.
I like that. It turns an archive into an asset again.
Exactly. Instead of content you wrote once and forgot, you get a podcast episode that keeps working for you, building your voice, your brand, and your authority.
So really, the barriers are gone. Time solved. Effort reduced. And the technology makes it sound natural instead of robotic.
That's the key. We designed the mode to make the final script sound like it was written for the ear, not the eye. Blogs tend to be formal. Podcasts should be conversational. That's what AI helps with, shaping the words for listening.
So to wrap this up, anyone with a blog already has a podcast in the making.
Exactly. My challenge to listeners is this. Pick one blog post you've already written, run it through the blog to podcast mode. In 10 minutes, you'll hear your words come alive as a podcast episode.
And the best part, we've been walking the talk. This episode itself was generated from a blog outline using VoxCrea's blog to podcast mode.
That's right. No studio, no production team, just content repurposed smartly into a podcast.
Thanks for joining us for episode 3, from blog post to podcast in 10 minutes. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep your message moving forward.